I want to talk to you about the power of love, the power of love. And the reason is, there are several reasons, but tomorrow, the 21st of January, is Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, right? His day. It's a holiday. It's a national holiday, I believe. It is national, right? Yes. National holiday tomorrow. And they're showing movies of him and things like that on TV right now. And so I had a chance to watch a little bit of it this morning as I was getting dressed. And I was reminded of how Black Americans, not all, but most, missed the most important aspect of Martin Luther King Jr. And that was he tried to be an example and introduce Black folks to love our enemies, to love one another, and they missed that. Dr. King said that, made such a powerful point. He said that he went to visit with Gandhi, and Gandhi had a non-violent movement going over in India or wherever he was. And Dr. King said that Gandhi said to him, and I know that this is true, he said to him, Black Americans coming out of slavery in a non-violent way with love will impact the world for the good. And I've been saying that too for years, that wow, if Blacks had love coming out of slavery in this country, because we are the city on the hill, it could impact not only America, but the world for the good. We could have changed the world. Just imagine overcoming slavery completely and have no bitterness at all toward your enemies that you live with. You live in the same town, same city, go to the same supermarket, work together, and Black people coming out of that with no hatred, nothing but love in their heart. That would have changed the world. And I think what has happened is that Black Americans have once again, or I don't know, once again, but missed a great opportunity to be a great people. And that is because they did not come out of that situation with love. And not all, but most. And the greatest thing that you can have is love. And the greater the situation that you're dealing with is, it is a great opportunity for the world to see God in you. If you deal with a bad situation with perfect love. And slavery, quote unquote, was a bad situation, but they did not come out of it with that. When they celebrate Dr. King's day tomorrow and today, however long they're celebrating it, it's going to be about hate. It's going to be about the past. It's going to be about what they need today. They need more affirmative action, more than this. And America is still a racist society. And it's just so sad. It really is sad. What happened when Dr. King was assassinated, the traitors of the movement took over, people like Jackson and the NAACP and others, and they turned a message of love into hate. And most Black Americans fell for it because these guys were a part of Dr. King's group. They were like disciples of Martin Luther King Jr. And so by Black Americans being blinded, they just assumed that the message that Jackson and others had was Dr. King's message, and it wasn't. And so what I realized from that is that these guys who were following Dr. King around, protesting with him and carrying on with him, but yet they didn't know what he was about either. They did not know what he was about. They missed the message because their hearts were darkened, and they couldn't see where it was dark, and they couldn't see where Martin Luther King was coming from. So they passed hatred down. They went for selfish motives to empower themselves. And today, not all, but most Black Americans are suffering. Well, I started to say unnecessarily, but it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be, and they missed the mark. And I know some people say, oh, Dr. King he cheated on his wife. Some people call him a cheater and adulteress. Some say he was gay. Some say he was a communist and all that crap. I don't know if that was true or not, but I can care less about that. I care about the message that he brought that will have freed us up as Black folks in this country. And we could have made this country such a powerful place, but instead they fell for hatred, and now they're blind and can't see, and they're weakening the country instead of empowering the country. And it's just such an unnecessary, evil thing that happened to them. And it's rough because so many generations have gone by now, and this message of hatred have been passed on, and they're not getting it now. It's just self-destruction now. And even Jesus Christ said that the greatest commandment is that we love him and love one another as ourselves. Now, how do you get to that kind of understanding? Because a lot of people say, oh, I love you. I love my kids. I love my wife or my husband. I love my enemy, but they don't. Because I'm thinking about this morning. How do I tell the people how to get to the kind of love that Martin Luther King Jr., Jesus Christ, Gandhi, and others were talking about? Because when you look back on history, it seems that even the people who follow the ones with this love don't get it either. It's like the closest people to the man did not get it. If they had it, they would not have passed on hatred. They would not have done what they did to this great nation. And it was so interesting I have this thick book of Martin Luther King Jr.'s writings. And when you read his writing, you can get the special message from it. It's all about love. And God, the tougher Martin Luther King's situation was, the greater the love he came through him. And he personally would just overcome stuff. And you look at this guy, he didn't seem very bright, but brightness shined through him. It wasn't like an intellectual thing. You could see that he had this real kind of love in him. When he first started out, he was like a simple kind of a guy. It wasn't his idea to go out and become Martin Luther King Jr. to change the world. It was given to him to do. He found himself in that situation. And that's how God's going to work through all of us. He's given us a purpose in life, right? And if we can connect with love, we'll find ourselves doing what his desire is for us on earth. There is something really nice about real love. And most people do not have it. They want it. I believe most people want it, but they just don't know how to get past the crap to get to that kind of love. It is something else when you really, really watch and understand what Dr. King was all about, or Jesus Christ, and the people who was able to change the world. That's why I believe that one person can change the world. One person can, right? If you have that kind of power of love inside of you, you can change the world. You don't need a crowd. And when you have that kind of love, never, ever, 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 but never think that you're not going to have great challenges. You're going to have issues with your family members, in your own family. You're going to have issues with your friends, your enemies. But it's only happening to you so that you can grow stronger in love and become a light of the world so that others can see it and their lives will change too. It's not personal that these challenges are happening, but the first instinct of angry people is to get mad about the challenge. They do not want to allow life to happen. They want it to go the way that they want it to be. And when you try to control life like that, it's only going to get worse for you, and you become an example of darkness and not of love. Just think about this. Down in Montgomery, Alabama, Martin Luther King Jr. was able to influence people to go on a bus strike for almost a year. And it wasn't something that he planned to do, but one thing led to another. He was even surprised by that. One action led to another action that led to another action that brought on the boycott. And he was absolutely surprised by it. And I noticed that he went through several bad situations, what seemed to be bad, but he dealt with them perfectly. And he became a better person for it. And one thing led to another. Just like when we sin, if you notice that if you sin just a little bit, then you go back for a little bit more, and then one thing leads to another one thing leads to another one thing until you finally destroy yourself. Well, good work the same way too. Have you noticed that? And you can't, because we are blinded and can't see, you don't even see the destruction that's coming. You don't see when you're in sin. Even when you're walking by the light, you don't see what good is bringing on either. Because when you walk by the light, you live in the present, and all that exists is right now. So you don't see what's coming up next. Same thing in sin. When you taste sin a little bit, you taste it again. And when you taste it again, you taste it again until you destroy it yourself. But we got to come to love so that we will become alive rather than destroying ourselves. So just imagine Dr. King was able to influence Montgomery, Alabama, black people to walk to work, to walk to the grocery stores, to walk to church, and not ride the bus. Just by his example. He didn't even force them to do it. It just happened through him. We can have the same kind of influence. We really can. And it was so powerful the way that they did that the racist white people in Montgomery, Alabama, that did not want black Americans to ride at the front of the bus and call them nigger and all that kind of thing. After a while, it started to blow their mind. They didn't know what to do. You know, they would get in meetings, these niggers are not coming back. You know, the bus is going, losing money, thousands of dollars, and a year is going by, and the niggers didn't come back yet. And this is how they would say it. All right, I'm not showing you the realness of it. But I thought, what a powerful thing to do that he can influence that for the good. And then there were some people who were following Martin Luther King Jr., who missed the mark. They had guns. They couldn't handle the pressure at times. So Martin Luther King's house was blown up. And they were like, hey, let's get guns. They come with these little pitiful rifles and stuff like that. They were ready to go. And Dr. King like, no, we're not going to do it that way. And they're like, yeah, they're going to kill us if we don't kill them first. He's like, no, I'm not going with you on this one. His house had just got blown up with his family in it. Fortunately, they were not hurt. But yet, he never got angry at the folks. He didn't hate white Americans. And they did because they couldn't see where Martin Luther King was coming from. It was a quiet spirit in him that was influencing. It had an invisible influence on Montgomery, Alabama. And things were unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. It was a miracle for me to see that. I'm like, wow, this is so nice. The power of love. It's interesting in that if we have love, the real love, and our enemies come at us and they want to hurt us and they call us names and they lie about us and they go nuts, right? The love that's in you by not hating them back, overreacting to them, is changing their hearts, and you don't know it and they don't know it. But it's having an impact on their heart. There is something about stillness with perfect love. not overreacting. Because when a situation comes, isn't the first instinct to react just like that? Get mad, do something about it. You won't get into it like that. You gotta stand still and let those first moments pass. And Satan started talking to you about it. He's like, oh, you should do this. They're doing this to you. You should do that. Don't go with it. And watch the power of love protect you, influence others. It is, folks. I'm telling you, it is something else. What else I wanted to tell you about? Oh, back in 1957, I think. Let me see. 57. Oh, 58, I believe. I may have that year wrong. Martin Luther King was in Harlem, New York, doing a book signing or something. And some black woman came over to him and pretended that she was, oh, I'm so glad to meet you. I've been waiting to see you for a long time. And she got close enough to him to stab him in the chest and try to kill him. You know about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I heard about it a long time ago.
Yeah. And she stabbed him right just in the chest to try to kill him. And the doctors had to take out a couple ribs in order to get in there to take the knife out because she put it so deeply in. She got so close to him. And so Martin Luther King was in the hospital, and the doctor said if he had just sneezed or anything, he could die, right? But his wife went in there and into the hospital room, and Dr. King asked, why did she try to kill me? Why did she stab me like that? And his wife said, the woman said, the reason she did it was because God told her that Martin Luther King was evil and that she should kill him. Isn't that amazing? How God gonna tell you to go and kill Martin Luther King? And you're gonna believe it and go do it. But her hatred, she allowed Satan to convince her with that hatred in her heart. And there were black people during those days that were not in support of what Martin Luther King Jr. was doing. You're gonna always have that, no matter what you do. Everybody's never gonna always be in agreement with you. But I have the utmost respect for Martin Luther King Jr. because I could look beyond the physical man and I can see what was really driving him. And that's what I want in my life. And it will help you overcome the world. It will help you influence others for the good. It will help you, working through you, it will turn people who are angry into love. And not all people, of course, because some people just hate evil anyway. Hate good anyway. You're not going to change, but you can influence once you come into this kind of love. And this love is quiet, unemotional, not up and down, it just is. And if you can learn in every situation to be still in that situation, then the power of God will reveal itself to you. But the moment you overreact, you lose. Then the lies of Satan, because Satan doesn't have power. He is a deceiver, right? But his lies would work through you and destroy you and everybody else. You got to come into emotion is not real love. You love somebody today, they make you mad, you hate them tomorrow. You love your kids today, but when they do wrong, you're mad at them. You love the preacher today, but if the preacher rebukes you, you're mad at the preacher. That's not love. And then you say, oh, I'm just of love. You're not of love. You're not of love. You're of your father, the devil. I'm counseling and working with a young man right now, and I'm mentioning this because the greater the challenge is, the closer you come into love if you don't overreact. Martin Luther King said, but that story about getting stabbed, that was absolutely true. I remember that. I've read about that and something. Martin Luther King Jr. said one day, oh, I want to hate. He said, I want to hate these people so bad because they were attacking him, going after his families, putting rumors out there about him, lying on him about things that he was doing and were not doing. And he said, you know what? I just want to hate them. But I can't. I cannot hate them. Tears came to my eyes because I totally understand that. Sometimes people can treat you so cruelly that you just want to hate them. But when you have connected with that love, you can't hate them. You're no longer connected to darkness. You've entered into that kingdom. And now you're growing and overcoming. You can't hate. It is weird that you cannot hate. And Satan will try to tell you to hate, but you're locked into this love of God that you cannot hate. Isn't that amazing? So whatever you're going through, if you had something to do with it and you're wrong, apologize. You know what? I'm wrong. I'm sorry. That's all. And be sincere and move on. And if they try to come at you, they spread rumors about you like they did with Dr. King. They did it with Gandhi. They even did it with Jesus Christ. Let them do that. Don't worry about it. Let people think what they want, and don't you try to fix the problem. In an invisible way, God is working on your behalf, and you're going to come out on the other side a better person for it. And it's amazing. And Dr. King was a perfect example of that. Now, all those things they said about him, I don't know if they were true, because I know people would say some awful things about you, especially when you're doing well in life. There's a lot of jealousy and envy out there. They even said, remember when they were saying Oprah was gay one time? Did you hear that about Oprah? Yeah. Oprah is successful. She's living her life. We may not all agree with some of the things that she agreed with, but you have jealousy. You have the sons and daughters of Satan out there who don't want to see you do well. They don't want to see it. And so they'll spread rumors and they'll try to burn down your house and they will try to hurt you. You still stay still and let God work through you. You got to take it. You got to shake in your boot. You got to do it because they know not what they do. That makes sense? Yeah. Isn't that good stuff? Yeah. It really is good stuff. Only a few people come our way who seem to have found or enter into that place of perfect love. Only a few. Majority of people are never going to get it. Never going to get it. Only the blessed will get it. Isn't that amazing? But it is within us to do. Let me take Rhonda first, and then because I saw her hand a long time ago. And yes, ma'am.
When Martin Luther King got assassinated, Robert Kennedy went to Indiana and had a speech. He spoke to a crowd of people, and he asked them not to riot. He asked them to show love and not hate these people. And he said, you know, my brother was killed by some crazy people too, and I can't show. I have to be patient with them. And those people did not riot. You know, almost all over the country they rioted, but those people did not riot. And the second thing I was going to say,
one other thing, hold that thought. Let me just say, just to piggyback. When Dr. King succeeded, after he succeeded in Montgomery with the boycott of the buses, it spread it around Alabama. Other people started doing that in other cities in Alabama. That's how powerful that was. The nonviolent movement of not hating your enemy, not picking up a stone and hurting them, but just being right in your heart. So the thing spread. It spread it around, and they were able to, the men and women in the South were able to get on buses and do what they want. Yes?
That kind of love does have a powerful influence. It's obvious from that.
Yes.
The other thing, so what you're saying about, I don't know what, you know, they have a lot of things they're saying Martin Luther King was an adulterer and things like that. So it still seems like God can work through you. You know, he still had a powerful influence on the things that he did do, even though he had some flaws, some character flaws. So sometimes we might want to judge someone and say, oh, but they're doing this. And it really lets us know we can't even judge that because they still have a powerful influence to do good.
Amen. A woman, amen. A man and a woman too. Yes, ma'am. See, our minds is foolish when it comes to the things of God. When it comes to the mind of God. God does not see the things the way we do at all. And God forbid, well, I don't know about God forbid thing. Let's say Dr. King did cheat on his wife, right? But because God was with him and had this upon him, God knew that. He understood Martin Luther King's heart. But the foolish minds, well, how can he be a man of God and he cheat on his wife? How can he be? They're judging him, but in darkness they're judging him. Because we don't know the mind of God. And I don't know if he did it or not, you know. I don't know, and it's not important to me. But you're right about that. And see, but what Satan tells people is that in order to do the things of God, you have to be absolutely perfect. But in reality, when you wake up, you start to overcome those things. You know, and you may trip up along the way, but it's no big deal to you or God because eventually it'll fade away. But the world will judge you for that because they are blinded and can't see.
And see, they put that on you, but then if you ask them to be perfect, they say, we can't be perfect.
That's right. Isn't that amazing? They'll judge you for not being perfect. So if they can't be perfect, why do they think I should be perfect? Or Martin Luther King, or Jesus, or Gandhi, or anyone who's working in this manner. It's such a messed up mind. It's so evil. And one thing I want to tell you people too, when someone come to you, and I thought about this when I read this thing about what they say Martin Luther King did, the wrong, quote unquote, wrong thing. When someone come to you with a so-called rumor or secret about somebody else, don't listen to them. Because the fact that they are doing that instead of going directly to the person and dropping it, they are angry and they are not telling you the truth. Because that's why they are doing it in secret. That's why they are gossiping about somebody in secret, because they are angry. They are an angry person, and they are not coming to you with love, and they are not telling the truth about that person. So don't listen to this. A sneaky person like that is not telling the truth. Because when you're like that, you're living in darkness, and in darkness there is no truth. So when they come to you about the rumor, even if they say, oh, I saw Jojo, well, I may not say Jojo, because I may know a Jojo. I saw John Doe. I don't know a John Doe. Child, I saw John Doe drunk the other day. And they come and whisper that to you. How could he be drunk? He called himself a Christian. What a shame. You tell them to get behind you. Get behind me, Satan. Because they don't know what's driving. There's more that's going on with John Doe than the alcohol itself. So they are having the love of John Doe or you. They are children of Satan. One of the worst things that you could do in life is listen to rumors about people. And never listen to a person that brings you rumors about another person. I don't care if it's daddy or mama, sister or brother, daughter, cat or dog. Don't listen to it. It's coming straight out of hell, and Satan sends those people to you to influence your heart, to make sure you never find this powerful love that's in us. Because if you listen to this about one person, you'll listen to that about another person, and that's not love. Get behind me, Satan. All right? Don't do that. Don't you do it, and don't you listen to it. Yes, Ronnie?
No, there.
That was it?
Yes.
Such a powerful, Wayne, you got yourself a Martin Luther King Jr. sitting over there. Do you recognize that, Wayne?
In more ways than one.
In more ways than one. Let me take, in the back, Jeremiah first.
What do you think influenced
Mr. Dr. Luther King to put his life on the line?
God did. That was his purpose in life, because Dr. King had no idea that that's what he would be doing. It wasn't in his 10 plan, 10 order plan, however y'all make out that stuff. What do you call that when you have your little calendar? You say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. 10-year plan. Yeah, 10-year plan or whatever. He had no clue. This would just happen through him. He found himself doing it. It came about. So God influenced him in the same manner that he will influence all of us if we be still and allow it to happen. Cut out the crap of the world. Cut it out. And let it happen. He will influence. And so when your family is mad at you, let them be mad. Have compassion for them. Don't go and put them down. Don't, just endure it for a season. It is God's will that none of us shall perish. Isn't that amazing? It is his will that none of us should perish. And that is mind-blowing to me. And so when I saw that in Dr. King, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And I wish, do I wish this? I may wish this. I'm saying it, but I may not wish it. But it would have been nice to see it. I wish that all Black Americans have been able to pick up on that message of love and we're able to see how God was working through this man to get this done. I'm telling you, we'll be a better people today. We'll be a better nation. We'll be a better people. The families would be tighter because love would have been there. Black Americans would have continued to open up their own businesses and do their own thing. We would see blacks and whites as spirits and not as the color of the person, whether male or female. We would have been able to make this country a country that the world would admire. And I guarantee you, other people who were enslaved in other parts of the world, had they seen us do this in the right way, they would have rose up. They would have risen up too and done the same thing. Because real love has that impact. It really does. It really, really does. But don't expect Satan to go and sit down and say, you know what, I've lost that one. Let me try. He's not going to do that, but because of greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world, it's just going to make you better. Don't get mad about your challenges. Don't run from them. Do not get mad about them. Do not let the children of Satan whisper stuff in your ears about other people. If the people are not willing to say it, if they're, just think about this notion. Then I'll take some more hands. Just think about this notion. If a person had real love, this love that God had, wouldn't they naturally go to the person anyway? Because what does it serve to talk about the person behind their backs or wish that kind of stuff on it? Go to the person and leave it alone. Don't get mad. Like Dr. King said, God, I want to hate them. I really want to hate them. They were burning down his homes. They were threatening the lives of his family. He went to jail. There was one situation where, what was he doing? Oh, one of the guys who were working with him was arrested. And the guy had not done anything wrong, right? And so on the day of the trial, Martin Luther King Jr. went to go to the trial, but they wouldn't let him in the courthouse. And the two officers said that, I'm not going to let you in. We're not going to let you in. What are you doing here, nigger? We're not going to let you in. And Martin Luther King said, well, I'm going in to the trial. I'm going to go in. No, you're not. We're not going to let you in, right? And he said, his wife was with him at the time. He said, yes, I am. I'm going in. No, you're not. And so they took him and, held him down and they put him in jail. And when they put him in the jail, they beat him up, right? But as a result of putting him in jail, something else unfolded. Like the people got upset and they got more involved with the movement. They protested a little bit more. So that wrong action made something else happen. When I say wrong action, the way they treated him was wrong, but because he did not overreact to it and then hate them for it, he did the right thing. It opened up, it caused something else good to happen. It really does. And that's what happened. One thing led to another one, that led to another one, that led to another one. And that's how good operates. But you're not going to see it until you're into it. Just like with evil, you don't see the actions that you're bringing on until you're in it. It just feels good right now, you know, blah, 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 right? So you got to wake up to this powerful, quiet love. It is not God's will that any should suffer. It's really not. Just think about that. Isn't that something? I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. You can get involved by calling 800-411-2663, 800-411-BOND. No. Yeah, bond, right? Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at it too. Isn't that amazing? The eyes can trick you. I'm looking at it and not believing what I see.